Hi guys, thanks for tuning in today. It's what you'd class as a 3G day, and it's not the old Telstra defunct system in the telecommunications side. 3Gs would be a great day. Look at this, beautiful blue sky. I'm in the central tablelands of New South Wales. It's 20 odd degrees, virtually hardly a cloud in the sky. Look at this, a great road. Runs for 50 kilometres. More importantly, we look over there, and the third G, I'm on a great bike. Look at this one over here. It's a 2019 Honda CB500X in the gunmetal black metallic. Gee, that's a mouthful, gunmetal black metallic. Surely they could have thought something easier to call it than that. But, name aside, there's no denying this is a great bike. I've thrown 200 kilometres on it now in the last 3 or 4 days, and it's done everything I've expected from the bike. No drama whatsoever, and I'll go into a bit of detail now. When I first rode this bike 4 days back, I thought to myself the brakes felt a little bit spongy, but I don't think now that's the case, because since then I've used the brakes quite a few times and they've bedded in a bit. So as it is now, I think they've got pretty good bite, and I've got no sort of complaints on the bike as far as the brakes go. So I also mentioned on the first run with it that it had a bit of vibration through the pegs at around 80 kilometres onward, slight vibration. Now at 200 k's, doesn't appear to be vibrating as much through the foot pegs as what it does on that initial first run. So I'll keep an eye on that over the next few hundred kilometres, and you know, the bike might have been just, as they say, brand new and all tight in all directions, and it's sort of loosened up a little bit, but apart from that, well, you know, it's good in that area. Now when you're belting out along the road and you're coming along and drop back from 4th, 5th, 3rd, you do know there's a nice little bit of a burble back from this exhaust. I don't know long term whether that exhaust will stay. I may look further into the idea to get an aftermarket can for it and just give it a bit more grunt behind it or something like that, but I think that'll be something I will look into after most likely the first service, and because it is rather quiet when you're riding it, and after riding the Enfields with sports exhaust on them, well, I am used to something with a bit of you could say decibels behind it. Another thing I'm impressed with this bike, you know, anytime you want to start it, you just go over there, turn the key, press the button, give it a minute to warm up sort of, and away it goes. So there's no drama. I've never had any problems with the starting on it or anything like that, and it's been a good bike in that area. Now why I mention some of these things at the moment, like I've been used to riding Enfields for the last 7 years, 500 singles and stuff like that, and believe it or not, a new Enfield costs more than this Honda. So if you look at it here in Australia, a new Enfield will cost you 9 grand. This right-away price on this bike for me was 8,800. So you know, when you look at it that way, and like I've been out now and I've run it through a few bends, but I've been taking it easy on the new tyres. Overall, I mean, you've got to say, this is a bloody good bike. There's no risk about it. You could ride anywhere on this bike, and if you want to go for a trip around Australia, I reckon if you had the gear to put on it and stuff like that, or you were that way inclined to want to go on a run, I reckon this would be a good bike. If we look at the gear shifting on this bike, a 6-speed box on it, what I've found about it is very precise. So not once, and I really mean so far, not once have I missed a shift deliberately or something like that, or accidentally, whatever way you look at it, and I've had no false neutrals or something like that. And another thing about it, neutral when you pull up, it's very easy to find. You don't have to go hunting for it. It's just there, really easy to find. And once again, other bikes I've been on, you sometimes have to get there and chase these neutrals and false neutrals and stuff like that. So that sort of an experience is really good. So overall, you know, it's really good in the box there, and no drama whatsoever. we could go further now on that clutch. Once again, once you get used to the slipper clutches on these ones compared to a standard clutch, they're far better to use. You can just go down from the shifts from 6th gear straight back down to 2nd, work your way right down through the box, change after change, no drama, no worries about rear wheel lock up or anything like that. So overall, that's a big positive, and I think for the this being a learner legal bike, what a great move by Honda to put a slipper clutch on these for the younger riders that are coming out for the first time, because no one ever wants to experience a rear wheel lock up, and they're not pleasant, and you won't have to experience once or twice, and they put a bit of a scare up you on a bad situation. So I'd say a big plus for Honda for doing this. As for the tyres or cornering and that, I really haven't been out there belting shit out of it or anything like that. I've been taking it easy, and naturally with new tyres on it, something you've got to do. But you know, so far it still runs around the corners nicely and stuff like that. So you know, I think the tyres, what they supply with this bike, are adequate and got a good tread pattern, and I think most people will be happy with it. Anyway, the main reason I did this video was filling a bit of time in one way to let the bike cool down here for 10 or 15 minutes, and while I was sitting on my tail over there, I decided, bugger it, I might just give you guys an opinion 200 kilometres later if I still like the bike, or more importantly, because I go through a lot of bikes, if I've got thoughts of selling it or anything like that. And I can guarantee you I've no plans in selling it, and the bike is going really well. I'm very happy with the bike, and I just can't look into any areas and say anything, point out anything it's no good, because I can't find anything to tell you it's negative against it. And the only thing I had lined up was that vibration in the foot pedals and in the pegs, I mean, and they're virtually gone now. So that's how it goes. As for off-road riding, I can't see me taking this off-road. I just bought that new Honda XR190 a week ago, and I'd be more inclined to take it off onto the dirt tracks, which I have done a few times, compared to run this one out into the heavy stuff. I'm only going to use this to ride along bitumen road running, and if I got no choice and come onto a dirt road, I might run it along it. But apart from that, well, it's really most likely end up being a closet queen and just take to the bitumen all the time. If we look at overall fit and finish on the bike, well, Jesus, what can you fault? It's like almost perfect for the sort of money you pay for it. Look at that nice, neat looking motor. The panels fit nice up along there. Everything really good, so there's really nothing you can complain about. You just look at that bike and say what a great looking bike, and more importantly, for a miserable $9,000 or $8,800, cheap bike. Gee, you know, you could ride this for years. How about this seat? Well, overall the seat's pretty good. I mean, look at it. It's got a fair bit of give in it. Nice seat to sit on. I haven't had any sore hardware in the backside area from riding it, and I find it pretty comfortable. It runs over the bumps well on that seat, and it doesn't jolt you around. So if you were looking at wondering how good it is to sit on, I think later on when I take it out on longer rides, I'll be very happy with that seat compared to some of the bikes I've been on and had to sit on and ride a fair distance. Okay, let's talk power. We got pushing close to that 50 brake horsepower mark. And what do I think of the power? Well, at this stage I probably wouldn't have had the bike over, I don't know, maybe 105 kilometres an hour, something like that. And I find that what you can do, like you can be in 6th gear and drop down to 60 kilometres an hour, and with gentle use of the throttle accelerate back up to 100 kilometres with no drama whatsoever. So it's got good torque as far as pulling power in that line. As far as outright performance, it's adequate, you know, like it's no powerhouse, but compared to what I'm used to driving or used to riding at 27 horsepower, I really think the jump up to this, you know, you can just come up the hills now. You don't have to backshift or anything like that. You can hold in 6th gear and just work your way along, and very few gear changes. So I think once you get in top gear in most cases, I'll know how I go back on more on that when I come back on this road today, because this road's got a lot of hills in it, and I'll be able to get a better idea how it pulls the hills in those. But at this stage, you know, the power's adequate, and it can cruise along at 100 kilometres an hour, no fuss, no trouble at all, and a great all-round bike. Now, as far as the headlights go, I can't really comment on those because I don't actually ride any bikes at night time or something like that, so you know, my chances of going out and testing what the headlights are like are pretty slim to none. So I'd let someone else, or you may be able to look at another review and they can tell you what the lighting's like at night time. But I wouldn't be going anywhere around here because there's too many kangaroos to start with. So and usually most bikes are good enough or adequate enough for the headlights around town. So, but out along the road around here at night time, I don't think you'd last that long. Well, that's only what I think, but I'm not going out to find out. I'm probably about 20 metres away from the bike now, looking over at it, and you can sort of see by the front end that it looks like it's jacked up on that 19-inch front wheel, so you can see it like it's up and ready to go scrambling or something like that. As far as riding it or anything like that with that, I'm used to it now, and compared to where I noticed it at first, I'm not taking any notice of that higher rake in the front now, and when you get on and ride it, because it just is a very easy bike to ride. And my opinions now stands like what I mentioned earlier on, that if you've got any ideas about thinking about one of these CB500Xs or the new, or this particular model, by all means go into a Honda dealer and jump on a demo if you can, if there's one available, and take one out for a run, because I'm pretty sure it'll impress you. Because if you're not chasing a powerhouse and you're just after something with adequate power or do any sort of job you want, I think this is the bike that'll do it. So you know, that's something for you to think about if you're out there looking around for a new bike. Give this one a good look. Anyway, that virtually concludes this 200 kilometre review on the bike. It's pretty hot here now. I reckon to be pushing 25 degrees, so for autumn in Australia, it's I wouldn't call it cold at the moment. Nice little breeze coming through, but I hope you enjoyed this little 200 kilometre mini review, and like I said, if anyone's out there thinking of buying one of these bikes, by all means go in and test one, because you know, with all the bikes I've had, I'd put it down, it's pretty good value for money, and well worth you at least going over, plant your tail on one, take one for a run, and you know, get your opinion that way. But from my point of view, it seems to be a faultless bike, and I would say you could put thousands and thousands of kilometres on a bike like this and it'd be a trouble-free bike. And not only that, it looks pretty good too. So you know, if you dressed it up with a few, I suppose if you're going off-road, crash bars, stuff like that, and a few other items, well, I think you'd end up with a pretty nice bike. The even sitting out here now and or standing here now looking at this gunmetal black metallic, it's not a bad looking bike either, because you know, at first I was thinking I would have liked red or the other colours, but nothing was available. It was either the choice of either take this bike, take none, and then I was told after that there's only a few coming to Australia and there's not many around at the moment. So if I would have said to him, oh, let someone else take that and I'll try something else, I don't know how long I'll be waiting for the next one. So when I had the opportunity to take it, well, I thought I'd take it, give it a run, see how it goes, and so far I'm enjoying it. So anyway, I'll get on this. I'll put on a couple of clips, I think, hopefully, of the bike running along, and you might find a bit of enjoyment out of those. And once again, thanks for looking, and I'll come back in at a later date with an upgraded test. And thanks for looking. Okay, I'm back up through those bendy sections now, so I can tell you, even with only a couple hundred kilometres on the bike, it ran really nice through those bends up there, and I had the camera running, so we might be able to pick that up. Also, I'd like to mention the instrument display, whether you're out along the road or in direct sunlight or in the shade. There's no trouble reading the instruments whatsoever. They're nice and clear, so you'll have no worries there either. I forgot to mention it. And more importantly, and I haven't mentioned it yet, that gear selector I still like as one of the top features. Like, at least you know what gear you're in, and you don't have to go put your foot down there and hitting it up and try to hit 7th gear when you already know you're in 6th gear and you can't go any further than that. So I failed to mention that back there where I stopped, but once again, the gear selector is good. Well, actually, I think one of the best features, the instrument display. You can see it quite clearly whether you're in shaded area, sunlight. You can see it really well in sunlight, so there's no trouble whatsoever seeing that instrument, how fast you're going, all the other gear it goes with it. And the handling of the bike up through those bends was spot on. So yeah, I tell you what, guys, you should ride one of these bikes, or at least go and test one and seriously think about buying one, because they are bloody good bikes. They are nowhere classed as rubbish or anything like that. And here's my camera set up while I was running on the back. So I'm impressed by it. It's a good bike. I'm definitely going to go for aftermarket can on this and have a bit of noise behind me. But anyway, just thought I'd pull up and turn my camera off now and just give you a couple of added bonus bits what I failed to mention earlier on. So cheers.